Know this. Introducing the original Blood Clot podcast, not players. Soothing semantic. Special dedication. All the way from New York. Boom. Yeah, man. SWOT semantic. Yeah, me know. Boom. Soothing semantic. Yeah, me know. Big ups to the man now. Soothing semantic.
On another episode of Soothing Semantics, I am your host, Rafi Pinsky. Make sure to subscribe, smash the like button, share it with your friends, family, dog, Aunt Louise, whoever. Make sure to check both of us out on social media. I'm going to drop all the social media links. Today we have Almog on the show. Okay, welcome. How are you, man? Great to have you.
Here.
So, thanks for coming. So I found you through, a buddy, Alon Avgi, and came across your page, and I noticed a few things right away, and it was very interesting to me. You're traveling constantly with your wife and son. You're really doing this for a living. So before anything, what got you and your wife to decide to make this a thing? Because this is something that I think many people would love to do. Everyone wants to travel. How did you both decide to make this a full-time job? And another amazing question is, you decide to do it with your son instead of just doing it alone with your wife, because that's a lot of responsibility. You always have to make sure that he's taken care of.
At this point.
Say again?
I don't think I had an option, I couldn't leave him behind at this point.
Yeah, I guess if it's all the time, yeah, man. But still,
in a way, one of the things we always said, like, I wish we started sooner, because traveling with a kid is a completely different style. As you can imagine, when you have a kid, you always you always put yourself as a second favorite. But in a way, as a parent, nothing makes you any happier than seeing your kid happy. So the whole vacation is becoming a little bit of a 50-50. It's a part of you and a part of what you can do for them, so they can enjoy the trip, because you can be completely selfish and just travel and care about yourself and other kids. But that's a whole conversation by itself about parenting and stuff like that. How did we start it? Like you said, everybody loves traveling, right? Who doesn't like traveling? And it's funny. The funny thing is, we've been doing it for a year and a half, and every time we go to let's call it ordinary place, every time we go back to New York for 2 weeks, if it's for work or some paperwork, we see so many people from, let's call it a previous life, where I used to live for 12 years. And when they hear oh, where do you live right now? I'm like, I'm a digital nomad. I live in the world. Everybody's like, wow, man, you're living the dream, and I hear it daily. New York, New Jersey, you meet people numbers are just numbers, multi-millionaires, yet they don't ask you what kind of house you have. They don't ask you what kind of car you have. They don't care what you're wearing, but they just hear that you're traveling and they say wow, you're living the dream, man. So what is your dream? So many people saying that this is their dream, but they don't do anything else but focusing on creating money. Like you doing this podcast, it's passion, it's passion that eventually, if you love it enough and you do it enough and you practice enough, it will take off. You'll be the next Joe Rogan, right? If you have it in passion, because you won't last if you do just money, you won't last, so it started this way, it started that dude, it's a story, I'm an entrepreneur. I got different businesses in retail and stuff like that. And then my wife was a full-time TV host on live TV. So that was all right, she already 10 years in TV, would she just drop it? So we kind of set ourselves a goal, and we said okay, let's give it another 2 years. If you don't make it into Hollywood, if you don't play next to The Rock in the next 2 years, which is near, not impossible, but very tough shot. Then we said, all right, let's pause everything and let's do what we really love. Let's do traveling. You know, the beauties that people don't understand. You can pause anything at any time. You know, if you're good at something, you can pause it and come back to it. And I talk to people daily about it. Oh, it's the dream. Oh, really? If that's your dream, why don't you leave everything and travel? Oh, you know, because I have kids. Really? Do you think the kids wouldn't want to travel? Like, what's more epic than taking the kids now to
Oh, it's a
1
total
month?
fear, brother. It's absolutely a fear, and I think people also. You mentioned stopping everything, especially if they're good at something. It's that momentum for a lot of people. So, you know, even for me, I would love to travel. Excuse me, I would love to travel, but I'm in this momentum now, especially with the podcast and so many other things, and that would be tough. I mean, I at least want to get
podcast.
my podcast and business to a certain level before heavily traveling. It's one thing to go on a 2-week vacation, 3-week vacation, but to be traveling a lot, it's tough.
It's two different things. Actually, we can talk about it because it's two different things. Right now, you can do the podcast from everywhere, but probably, and I'm assuming, and I'm not trying to be rude, it cannot support you to the level of traveling that you want to do.
Absolutely
right?
not.
You still have a job on the side.
Yeah,
but that job, so that job maybe or maybe not be your full passion. If your passion is traveling and your passion is podcast, so what are you doing right now? Are you saving for a trip? Or are you saving to create more financial freedom? Are you saving on growing your podcast? I don't think you need to invest too much money to create a podcast. It's just dedication and time consuming. I mean,
definitely costs money. Definitely costs money because I have an editor, especially for my in-person episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And I also I don't like Zoom is not my preferred option because it's just not, the interaction is not the same at all. If you were sitting in my studio and we were having a one-on-one in-person conversation, it's different. It just is. The interaction's different. People view it differently. It's a more powerful episode, quite frankly. So, that's another thing.
Then what is your dream? Your dream is a podcast. So then what is your dream?
Oh, financial freedom is absolutely a dream. So traveling for me is very important, but I get more, my biggest enjoyment is accomplishing goals, setting out to do certain things and getting them done. I just love a good challenge. And
that's amazing. Then that's perfectly fine. Then you tell me that I'm living the dream because this is my dream and your dream is not necessarily is the same, which is fine. Everybody has his own dream. If you have a powerful podcast that you sit with awesome people every week, perfect. Then you living your dream. You right now living your dream because you do what you want to do. That's a problem. People don't do what they want to do. People work to pay bills. You right now living the dream, my brother. You're doing your podcast.
Absolutely.
Another episode of this is freaking epic. You know, that's what you do. You're living the dream.
Absolutely. Yeah, go on.
No, I'm saying like I talk to people daily and I meet people that are like multi-millionaires, extremely successful and all that kind of stuff. And then they tell me, man, you know what? You living right. You living the dream. And then I poke them. Then why don't you do this all? Like drop off everything. You got all the money in the world. And I'm talking like I have friends with like hundreds of buildings. What holds you from doing it right now? Oh, it's work. What do you mean? Like, how far do you have to push? Like, how much money do you need? What is your dream? Now, it's fine. If your dream is to have $1 billion, then this is your dream. But don't tell me I live the dream because I live my own dream. This is not your dream. Everybody lives the
People do not really think it through. They say it so in such an empty fashion. And what I love it because I'm the same way, brother. If I notice there's a chink in the armor or something doesn't add up, I'm gonna question it. I'm gonna be like, what do you mean it's the dream? You have the ability to live it. Go fucking live it. Don't talk shit about it's the dream. It's so empty. So
exactly.
Don't get me wrong, man. I love traveling. I love traveling. At the same time, it's just for me, huh?
No. I hear you. Of course, 100%. It's just different style. It's just different style, to be able to say, I don't have a house when we had a house and we literally live in suitcases and we are in different house every 2 weeks. It takes personality, it takes personality. not easy for some people. It's which is fine. It's fine. But
For a lot of people, I
that
think for a lot of people, I think it's the instability of it. Doesn't, when I say instability, it doesn't have to have a bad meaning. It's that,
no, not at all.
yeah, it's
Beautiful.
right. It's that people there's beautiful sides of both things, right? So the idea for a lot of people about traveling constant, this is all things you know, but I'm giving perspective to people listening. Having stability, with going to the same job, same house, same wife, kids, yada yada. It's like, okay, I know what I'm getting myself into. Fine. The negative and downside to that, which I on one hand, I like the element of stability. On the other hand, I cannot go work for someone 9 to 5 for the rest of my life, have a capped salary, not be able to do more than that, not have the financial freedom to do what I want. More importantly than anything, not be able to do what I enjoy day to day. Comes with more risk, comes with more reward. So I'm a realtor, full time. That's my main source of income. I love doing it. There's bullshit, there are annoying elements of it, but I love it. I have no boss. There's no cap salary. Nobody telling me when to come and go. It's perfect for me. Then I have the podcast on the side. They intertwine. They work together. As one kind of. It's not all real estate, obviously, clearly, but I'm doing two things I love to do. It's perfect. I just have to build both of them. That's it. Simple as that. One thing I can't understand is when people get up every Monday and they're dreading their week. It doesn't compute with me, bro. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. It's like you're going to spend the majority of your life doing shit you hate. You're going to sleep a third of it. Does that not ever bother you? And it does, it bothers everybody, but people just they can't get out of it. They can't mentally get out of it. They can't just one day.
There's no right or wrong. Like Gary Vee always says, I can have all these millions, but I can have a teacher who works a 9-to-5 job, makes 40 grand a year, and is the fucking happiest person on earth. And this is fine. I always tell my wife, she's always been awesome. She's always been successful. 16 years old, she used to work as a host in a restaurant. And she was making, talking about like 15 years ago, used to make like $20 an hour, when she was 16, 15 years ago. So since then, she got corrupted with numbers. She says, it's just like, I can't work for somebody because nobody can afford me. So this is another way to look at it. People get shocked when I tell them I can do a 9-to-5 job right now, no problem, if it can afford what I think I'm worth, And the problem, people don't value their time the right way. And that's a whole other conversation, Like, the most expensive thing in life is time. That's the only thing you cannot afford. There's no price to it. I came from a family that my dad has a huge factory, 45 employees, 17 trucks. He was doing like windows work. He was doing the biggest hotels in the country in Israel. And then, started from scratch when he was like 16, 17. My dad is 74. So you're talking about when Israel was just like kind of like rebuilding itself. And then when I was 13 and he was about 55, 57, he lost everything. He made few wrong moves, signed up on some wrong partnership, and somebody screwed him over, and he lost everything. And I'm talking about he lost probably $2 million worth of savings in Israel 20 years ago. It's a lot of money, right? And we were having a beautiful apartment, never a house, it was never a show off. I'm having a beautiful apartment, great 2 cars that we're waking up in the morning and there's no cars downstairs. And then like a month later, we have to leave our apartment. I didn't feel it. I was 13. He never made me feel it. We actually moved to a rental that was 10 times more awesome than the apartment that we owned. So
why was it so nice? What was so good about the rental?
No, it was just bigger. It was, we lived on the 8th floor. Now we moved to the next door city. We were on the 21st floor. I got a much bigger bedroom with a huge balcony to myself. Like, for me, it was an upgrade. But in my mind, in my dad's mindset, he lost all his saving that he saved for 39 years of work. And we have 4 siblings. Yeah, we have 4 siblings. He had $250,000 saved for each one of us for the day we needed. He had to take all our savings out. So can you, a man, a father to 4, and you have all these crazy saving and an apartment and 2 cars and and you just lose everything over a year, and because you got screwed by people. So now I learned that lesson at the age of 13. My dad was working every single day. We used to see him only on a Saturday, and even on a Saturday, it was half a day. He would go to the factory when it's closed without anybody, and he was doing his own little homework until 1 p.m. We would see my dad every day after 9 p.m., and I would see him only on a Saturday from 1 p.m. till we go to sleep. Pretty much once a week, we see my dad. Now, he lost everything, and guess what? Everything's fine. Everything's fine. We still have apartment. We moved to a rental cars. We still have food on the table. We have each other. Everything's still fine. But there's less money. But you can remake the money. But what about the time that we lost? You cannot gain that time back. And I learned that when I was 13, that I'm only gonna push myself to make money so far. And this is wrong in a way, because people like, there's age to hustle, blah, blah, blah. And then there's Gary Vee who comes and tell you, dude, don't worry about anything before you're 30. Like, he tells you just like, do some dumb shit until you're 30. He always say like some random stuff like that. You're too young to feel the stress of money. And then I recognize.
I don't know if he's, but I've understood him differently though. Because on one hand, he says you're young and you have a lot of time. On the other hand, he says, he was working throughout his 20s. Like, he personally was doing that. So everyone's different. Everyone's got their own thing. But like, for me, I'd rather bust my ass now. I'm 28. I've been working hard since I was 15, 16 as a waiter. But I don't know. I'd rather work harder now. So when I'm 40, I'm not sitting there working for some guy and I fucking hate it. Everything he does, and he's looking over my shoulder going, hey, did you fill out that paperwork yesterday? Huh?
You can also work for some guy, but absolutely love it at the same time.
I mean, I just can't see myself working. It's very hard for me to really work for somebody. I don't know. I can work with somebody. Very hard for me to work for somebody. I have a hard time with it.
How about if you happen to work for the person who admired, the person who I forgot the word, who inspire you the most? Everyone has inspiration.
It could be. It's open for conversation, but I'd prefer to have my own thing.
It's mindset. Don't put guards for yourself. How about if I told you tomorrow you are able to manage a weekly podcast to Warren Buffett? It's gonna be you, Warren Buffett, sitting right next to you. And every week, you and Warren Buffett gonna interview another awesome person in the world, and you have to do this job for a year. It's fucking epic, right? You're working for Warren Buffett. You're sitting fucking.
Right, but what if?
Yeah,
no, I'd be stupid not to. But it also depends on what it entails.
It all depends on the condition.
Yeah, the conditions matter, man.
That's why I never tell myself, like, I never put myself that word that I don't want to work for somebody. I'll work for whoever. If somebody inspired me, if I feel like that I get what I'm worth, I don't care for that word that I don't want to work for somebody. I don't care for 9 to 5. Maybe I can do whatever I love the most from 9 to 5 tomorrow. I love sports. I love music. I love my family. What if somebody paid me to babysit my son? Just think something wild. If somebody paid me to play tennis 3 hours a day, and somebody pay me to do music for 2 hours a day, it's freaking a dream job, but it's whatever I designed for myself. Now, and guess what? It might be possible. I don't know. I just won't say it in a way that I won't do this, I won't do that. I'll do whatever that I think is worth it for me. You can shape everything. Those conversations are endless. We can talk about those things for
hours. I love these conversations. I wish I was sitting with you in Greece talking about it with you, man. That'd be great.
Dude, I'm going to come to Miami in October. We'll meet up. We're in the process of buying an apartment in Aventura. So we'll be there October. And
buying a place where?
Do a recap in Aventura.
Dude, I live in Aventura. I wish I knew. I mean, I guess, I don't know if you had an agent you already knew, but I would have loved to help you.
It was somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who came to us. It's directly with the owner kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, I live here, man. I live right in the neighborhood. So
that's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
Hopefully, looking forward to meeting.
So
you
do a follow. So what I'm saying about this whole life thing is, people don't talk enough They don't have this conversation that we have. People don't have this conversation with themselves. They don't have with their partners. They don't have with their parents. They don't have the conversation of, all right, let's talk about life. You know, they talk to their friends every single day, but they're talking about, they're complaining. Most people complain. They live through complaints. And the more both sides complain, the more they get together. It's amazing. And I lived in a life that I'm so not complaining, me and my wife. And we felt that we lose so many friends along the way because we were having these dinners with people. It would be like 4 or 5 couples. And you hear everybody talks and everybody just complain. And then it's your turn to kind of like talk. And everything is just awesome. And my wife got a message from her best friend when she asked her, how come you didn't invite me to your party? And she said, you know, my other 2 friends, they're kind of jealous in you because you're always so happy and everything goes so well for you. And they asked me not to invite you. Do you get this?
It's a real thing?
You just get this. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. And I have.
The friends even admitted that? That's what the friends told her?
Yeah. Yeah, my friends told me, kind of like jealousy. Everything goes so good for you. And every time you talk, it's so amazing that, you know, they're just like kind of cranky. You know how many girlfriends of my wife, when we met and we started dating and we just got married, they were so like iffy until they got into a relationship. And I was like, you know, you're awesome. She said, yeah, I told her she was awesome. I was like, yeah, but she was such a dick. Like she was like for like 2 years, but now she's in a relationship, you know? People cannot help themselves. That jealousy, you know, when they see you being successful, they see you happy, it bothers them. That's why people that have, they get together. People get so much better, so much closer when they complain. And it's just the same thing with miserable people in this world and joyful people. Like you see all this protesting and stuff like that. You see when people need to protest, they get together so quick. But people that don't want to protest, you know, they just stay at home. They're not gonna go and kind of like stop them. Like peaceful is so much more quiet than being angry. You know, You put take a group of 100 people that are just peaceful and watching in the sky, and take one angry person who screams around, he's gonna bother the entire 100 people. You know, like anger is so much stronger than peaceful, and it goes in so many ways. And it goes in work, it goes in making money, it goes in everything, in relationship. The problem is people don't talk about it enough. People don't have these conversations. School doesn't educate you. I believe everybody should have a psychologist or someone who's close enough to be a psychologist, just to talk, just to do a recap. You know, people just don't do recaps about like what happened this week, what happened this year, what do we want to happen next year. You know, people always live with this thought, oh, in the right time, I'll travel more at the right time, I'll buy a car in the right time, I'll meet someone at the right time. There's no right time. You want to do it. You know, It doesn't take much to travel. You know how many people we met that travel under $1,000 a month around the world? They sleep in awesome places for $7 a night and $10 a night. My wife did. When she traveled the first time to India, she slept in places that cost like $5 and $7 a night. You know, so everything is possible. And it's not about the number. It's just like you can do whatever you want. If you love it, you'll be good at it. If you're good at it, it'll work out.
Yeah, everything you're saying is extremely logical. It's for most people, and there are things that apply to me in this regard. There are things that I love that you mentioned you're never fully prepared for anything, because it's true. There's never a perfect time for anything. I do think at the same time there are certain things that should be calculated instead of just jumping and just doing anything. So for instance, for me, when I started my podcast, I didn't have a lot of money to throw around. I couldn't make the best studio, get the best equipment, but I jumped in and I winged it. And I've come a long way, bro. And, you know, I'm almost you're going to be the 79th episode. So it's pretty amazing. Awesome. Yeah, man. So in terms of business, in terms of podcasting, whatever it is, you have to take a leap of faith with it and perfect it as you go, you know, get better as you go. But like for me, for instance, with marriage, I'm not really comfortable getting into a serious relationship until I have like a certain amount of business coming in.
Until the right will come and steal your heart, as corny as it sounds. Yeah, right. When the right one comes, it takes the right one. You never know. You just never know. It can come. All of a sudden, it means nothing. You say, like all of a sudden you can be so happy that you say, I don't care for podcasts. I don't care for nothing. Now my passion is just to be with this person on a freaking lonely island. In 2 years, I'm going to rethink everything I want. You just never know. We are humans. We are so emotional. Things can throw us off right and left. Everything is so unexpected. Some people say they need a boat to go through life. And I feel like I can just stand in the middle of the ocean on a little toothpick and I'll manage. I'll do how to jungle my legs and I won't fall in the water. Oh, I'll even swim and I'll push the toothpick while I'm swimming, It's everything. You know what? I say that, but at the same time, I do hold myself with certain things. For example, I'm dying to start YouTube. We've been dying to start YouTube and we lacking. Like I'm trying to put an episode once a week. We said it 6 months ago already. We put maybe 7 episodes instead of 40 something, 52 instead of 26 in 6 months. Because I'm telling myself, I need the editing to be better. And then every time I'm trying to edit a video, it's like I stretch the editing for 2-3 weeks until I get what I like.
Why don't you hire an editor, Alon?
What?
Why don't you hire an editor?
Of course I have an editor. You think I have the time to edit anything myself? No way.
Oh, okay. So you do. So what's wrong?
I have an editor actually. When the editor was traveling with us, it was easier to post. But now our editor is overseas. He went for a vacation. He's joining us again in 2 weeks in Bali. He's joining us. And then when he's with us, it's easier because when you need to review something, you just review it. It's not like uploading 20 gigabyte and then downloading 20 gigabyte. So it's going to be easier. So March is going to start again. But my point is, every pro YouTuber tell me, dude, you overdoing it. Just post it. Just freaking post. One video will be good. You just post once a week. Just stick to the once a week. Just post it, and you see with time. After you post 100 different videos, you will see on the engagement which one was better. The fully edited, the longer one, the shorter one, the joking one. And look, I tell myself the same. I tell you, the people needs to do what I don't do. It's funny, but by talking about it now I'm pushing myself again. So tomorrow I'm getting my five. Let's post something. However it's gonna be, let's see the reaction. That's what I'm saying. People needs to have this.
Yeah, it's very normal though that sometimes we have better advice from an outside perspective than we do when we're looking internally. It's funny how that works.
Always like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes food. When I used to train people, I used to tell the people, oh, can I eat that? Can I eat that? I used to tell them, like, just think, what would you give to your son? What would you give to your kid? I eat French fries like a lot, and then I'm trying to tell my son like not French fries because it's not too healthy. It's just funny. It's that basic sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah, your son's, you got to lead by example. Your son's going to see you eating it. He's going to want to eat it too, for sure. So question I had for you, because we went into it before, what's it like kind of traveling with the little one, with Mateo all the time versus, and you mentioned it a little, you can go into parenting a bit if you want, but for, I think a lot of people watching your content on Instagram, they would, as much as it's a beautiful thing, they would probably see that as a very big challenge. Because you're also in some countries, I imagine that you have to be really careful that you're constantly watching him, right?
We're watching him all the time, 24/7. The thing I told myself since I saw my dad losing all the time with us and lost the money, blah blah, is I said I will never miss a day for my kids' life. I'll be there, with money, without money, more. I want to be there 24/7, and thank God I did it, because when kids grow up, there's so many moments that just don't repeat themselves. Like my son at the age of 3 months, he was like singing all day, age of 3 months. And it was one day that he was singing all day, and it was like the funniest thing ever. And we recorded the entire day, and it just never happened again. Just never happened again. And then like a few months later, it was another freaking awesome. He had that deep laugh. I have it on video. He had like a deep laugh, and we were laughing like he has a laugh like a truck driver. He was doing like 2 days, and it never happened again. And there's so many moments that brings you so much joy And then you understand again the value of time. You know, it's like, yeah, I could have missed that if I was just focusing on making extra $1,000. If I was focusing on building him a bigger house or a bigger pool or blah blah. Like when he doesn't know the difference between a pool and a bucket, right? But let's put this conversation aside because he asked me about traveling with the little one. Nothing is easy, nothing is hard at the same time. It's all about how you look at the thing, you know, because making money can be easy, can be hard, depends if you love it. If you manage to love being a parent and you give your kid all the love, it kind of goes in return, you know, like when you give your son the entire attention, they're awesome. You know, you don't need anything but attention. And if you give them all the attention in the world, they will never cry. They will never complain. They will never be cranky. They don't know. They start as a reset. All they need is you. You know, there are so many videos out there. It was one video years ago that they took like 10 different kids. And no, sorry, they took 10 different parents and they asked them, who would you want to sit for a dinner with? And then one say Michael Jackson, one say Freddie Mercury, one say Warren Buffett, one say this, one say that, you know, different parents, you know, the wife said this, the father said that, blah, blah. And then they went to the kids and they asked the kids, you know, 4 years old, 5 years old, 7 years old, who would you want to have the best dinner in the world with? And every single one of them said, oh, with my mom and dad. And then you see the parents seeing these videos and they are crying. And they're going to the other room and they're just hugging their parents. You know, sometimes people don't understand. All they need is your attention. They need your time. You know, they don't care. They don't care that you buy them Gucci shoes. You buying Gucci shoes for your kid, or you just want to flash to your friends that you have money to buy your kid, like to buy your kid a Gucci shoes.
Very
you know?
true, man.
Oh,
Even more so, I think it's sometimes or oftentimes very wealthy parents use the money and gifts as a way to avoid having to give their kids the time. It's kind of used as a substitute. It's like, oh, well, look, I love you because I'm giving you all these material things, but the one thing I'm not able to give you is time. You know,
one of my goals, one of my dreams is one day I would want to be call it psychologist, call it, I don't know, speaking to couples. I would really love one day when I have more time for other people, to try to have this conversation more with people, especially with couples, because the same thing that we said, that people buy certain things for the kid just to flash their friends, and when people don't need it, it goes the same. It goes all the time with relationships. You know, the hardest thing is to be a parent, to be a mother. To be honest, you know, I can say it as a father who's a full-time mother. The hardest thing is to deal with kids because you can't really get angry at them. You can't really understand them at the same time. And it creates a like crazy melancholy that you just like have to just suck everything in, you know, and to do it alone is very hard. You know, me and my wife, you know, we do it together. It makes it easier. I can have this podcast and she's watching him, and then she has to do work and we're switching. But can you imagine doing it alone for 7 hours a day, 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day until your partner is supposed to come back from work? By the end of the day, you are so drained. Thank God, me and my wife never really had more than 2 days straight doing it by ourselves, because we would get tired of it. Maybe yes, maybe not. I'm not sure. But what happened with relationships a lot is that it's such a pattern. You know, the guy goes to work, the woman stays home, and she goes crazy with the kid, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Then when the husband comes home, he gets all the yelling. So the day after, He doesn't want to get the yelling, so he would beg. He would get her a belt. He would get her flowers. He would get her all these things just to shut her up. That when he walks into the door, he doesn't hear all those things. And then the whole world becomes very materialistic, that you see these women at home, miserable, raising kids alone without help from the husband. And he's making money, which is so much easier to make money than raising a kid. So much easier. And then he just feed her up with stuff instead of work less and pay your time to be at home more. You know, it's so much easier. I had this conversation a few years ago with my friend who has now 3 kids. And he was telling me when he has 2 kids, he was telling me like, yeah, man, you know, like I work so hard, the company is growing, blah, blah, we're doing great, but I wish I could be more time home with my kids, you know, because I feel like it affects my wife, blah, blah, blah. A week later, I tell him, I don't remember exactly how it was, but I told him, hey, dude, I need help. I have a friend who's opening the same company as you, but in USA, but needs like a mentor. He need like to speak to someone. He needs to speak to someone like 2 hours a week. How much money would you charge for an hour? And he gave me a price, right, to charge an hour. And I'm like, all right. And I was being really weird with him, and he gave me some price that it's equal for like, I don't know, for like 20 hours. I don't know, it was worth like $2,000, something like that, right? But he was wearing a $2,000 jacket, like a Moncler jacket. And I told him, all right, so I can get you for 2 hours a week for $2,000, right? So I told him, if you didn't buy this stupid jacket that you're wearing right now, and I have a FaceTime with him like that, if you didn't have that stupid $2,000 jacket on you right now, for the next 10 weeks, you could have spent 2 hours a week with your kids. Because you just told me last week that you're really upset you can't spend time with your kids because you have to work.
That was a trick question. That was a great trick question.
Was a trick question. I flew on him, and he looked at me, and he was like, son of a bitch, like, I wasn't ready for that. So there's no person. I was like, shut the fuck up. Don't talk about the person. Yeah, there is no person. Why the fuck you wearing a $2,000 jacket and you tell me you can't be with your kids extra? Who cares? Who cares for a jacket? I hate it strong. People don't get it. Don't tell me you want to do something and you do the exactly opposite. Don't tell me you want to travel, but you live in a $4,000 rental unit. I lived in a basement. Well, not really a tough basement. It was a walk-in basement. But at the age of 24, I bought a 3-family house. Actually, it's 2-family. And it was illegal 3rd unit, walk-in basement. The gray rule that you cannot rent a basement to somebody else, it doesn't mean you cannot live in it yourself. So it's a beautiful gray rule in America. So I bought this three unit that my mortgage was $3,500 a month. I was renting 2nd floor and 1st floor, one for $2,350 and the other one for like $2,000. So the rent was covering my mortgage, plus paying me $1,000, plus paying me like $1,100 a month, and I lived for free. Right. So at the age of 24, I said, damn, I actually don't have to work another day of my life in a way. I have a place, to sleep. I have $1,000 for food, which can cover me food for the whole month. And I'm still paying off the mortgage. That's fucking awesome. Then I have friends at the same age, 24, who renting a decent unit for $2,000, like a nice 1-bedroom in like one of those like beautiful buildings with a pool that's open only 2 months or 3 months a year, but they have a pool in the building, right? And and then they have an awesome Mercedes downstairs. It's like $800 with the insurance is like $1,100 a month, whatever. And I'm like, bro, you pay $2,100 plus $1,000. That's $3,200. That's $3,200 a month, right? I'm like, I don't pay rent, so I'm saving $2,000, and I earn another $1,100 plus paying off the mortgage is $800. So I'm like $2,000, you $3,000. So we are $5,070. I'm like, dude, I can sleep and scratch balls, and I'm making about $80,000 more than you a year, and I'm doing nothing. You understand the numbers? You understand the math that I was playing when I was 24? Yeah. I was like, dude, we don't do nothing. I can sleep all day, learn how to play PlayStation because I don't know how to play PlayStation. And and I make $70,000, $80,000 more than you just because you have bills and I don't. I own a GMC, that's like 6 years old, but you have a Mercedes and an awesome apartment. It's like, it's a completely mindset. So
granted at the time that was good enough for you and you can get by, but it wouldn't be anything that you can really do much with. It's definitely not a bad place to be in. So yeah, no, that setup is solid, bro. Especially if you're a single guy. It's like, listen, $1,000 a month isn't much, but at the end of the day, you're not losing. You're in a better position than he is, for sure. I get your point, 100%. But like at the same time, later down the road, a couple of years later, especially if you have a wife and kids, $1,000 in savings a month is not really going to do anything for you.
But it's not like I really sat at home and did nothing. I was actually working. But that was my point. I was working. It's in my nature to work and continue creating. But my point is, it doesn't matter how much money I'm earning, and it doesn't matter how much money he's earning. I was $75,000 more than him a year, just by the way we're living our life. You understand?
Right. But
So
even what was he doing? Well, I get what you meant, but what was he doing for a living in addition to that? Like, what was he putting away money? Was he investing money?
no, it was just having a job. No, he has his own company. He has his own company that makes tons of money.
Okay.
I mean, now I was making money back then, right? Whatever. But the thing is, he has bills that I don't have. So if we both making 100 a year, you know, if we are both making 100 a year, I have 112 at the end of the year, while he has only 25. But we're both making 100, just
Right.
because the way we live our. I'm not saying not to work. I worked all the time, but because I took so many steps back, not living backwards, just living below my needs, below my abilities. It made me gone so much farther. The problem with life is that people making 100, they'll spend 80. Tomorrow they're gonna make 120, they'll spend 100. They're gonna make
Right.
200, they're gonna spend 100. You know, that's the issue. You know,
100%.
when does it stop?
100%. People.
Stop?
So true. Yeah, people don't. There's a very big misconception. Oh, if I make more money, I'll have more. But most people, the more they have, the more they spend. It doesn't end. If they make a 500K, they'll spend 430, and none of it matters. 100%.
Exactly. So the whole world is conditioned that way. Well, actually, not the whole world, but like the big cities that we all know, like, you know, New York, Miami, all these big busy cities. That's all the focusing about. You know, when I lived in New Jersey for 12 years, I had so many friends. You know, like I'm Israeli, he's Israeli, so usually there's like a better bond, and like you get together more often. You know, because you're both like immigrants and that kind of stuff. And I got to the point that I have friends who lived one exit away from me. And back in Israel, we used to get together so many times. And then like here in the USA, we both have so much more money, but we see each other once in 3 months because we're so busy. And it keeps moving from a 1-bedroom to a 2-bedroom to a 3-bedroom to a better car to a bigger house, blah, blah, blah. But we don't get together to just have a freaking coffee and watch TV. You know, it's just like to watch a movie together. Just you don't get to it. And like, what is life about? You know, if not just to have a good time. We all, you know, it's a big conversation, and sometimes I don't like to talk about it like, in a way, because I don't want to come out cocky, you know, and like that's why I never like. Since the age of 22, I figured like I thought that I figured life, and I understand how things should work for myself. I never talked about it too much because I didn't want to come out cocky. I'm getting more comfortable with it, okay, and I want to explain it to people more, because people just don't hear it and they don't talk about it with themselves, with another person, and it's so important. You know, what do you want most in life but like eating a good meal, laughing, and have the freedom to do whatever you want, right? It's that basic, right? I want to have the freedom. I want to have a financial freedom. When you say you want to have financial freedom, you just want to do whatever you want, right?
Definitely.
You said you said I want a financial freedom. You didn't say I want to have 10 Ferraris and not financial freedom. You say I want to have financial freedom, right? Now, if I give you tomorrow $10,000 a month, would you quit and do just whatever you want?
Maybe, but I'll tell you what the thing is for me, I love the idea of setting out to do something and doing it. So I think there are some people that just want to have,
Nothing wrong with that. Do whatever you want.
Right. So I think there are just some people that want to have more money so they can have more material things. And I think there are some people that really want to go after what they want. And in turn, that brings them money and brings them other things. I mean, you need money to be financially free. But yeah, we live in a place like America where, fortunately or unfortunately, that's the mentality, that's the culture. And let's say comparing it to Israel, I think a lot of people in Israel would love to have nicer things, but they understand that the reality is it's extremely difficult to attain that. So they kind of just have this acceptance of, okay, well, if I'm going to drive a Skoda, at least it drives. If I live in if the place isn't so nice, at least I have a place. And the good part about that is you don't really have the materialism the same way. Like you can have a guy that's making an okay salary and he'll still date a nice, beautiful girl because there isn't really that expectation. But then these same Israelis come to America and they see there's the ability to make a lot more money and they say, oh shit. And it can cloud their judgment. There's a really a pro and a con to any decision you make. I can go and make Aliyah right now and accept that there's less of an ability to really grow bit. Of course, there are wealthy people there and you can become wealthy there, but it's difficult. It's more difficult. So there's a pro and a con to that. You know, it's really it's tough to dissect this conversation. And I agree with what you're saying, by the way. I love what you're saying. At the same time, there are a lot of nuances to it. It's complex, man, because I don't know, like what I'm doing right now, I'm spending a lot of my life working where I could be traveling and I could be sitting on the beach, and I'm sacrificing time that I'm never going to get back towards work. And sometimes I wonder if that's the best use of my time, but for me it is. I mean, for me it's what I feel I need to do. There's no right answer, really. That's the truth. That's the tough part about it.
There's no right or wrong. It's just a matter of just do what you love. If you telling me, dude, I love traveling, but I love making money more, that's 100% fine. The question is, I mean, my question would just be, not the question, but my question will be, well, how much money do you need? I want to be the richest man in the world. That's a different goal. For example, Alon, our friend, right? Yeah. He said he wants to make $1 worth of real estate by 30. Awesome. That's awesome. He's living his dream. He's going to make it. He doesn't need 1 billion. There's no need or no need. That's what he wants, which is 100% fine. The question is, when people tell me like, no, I love making money more than travel, but I love traveling too. But they haven't taken a vacation in 2 years. Well, how much money do you need to travel? You know, no, I just haven't made my goal. What's your goal? I don't know. I want to make like $5 million. And they're making $5 million. And you know, they don't stop. Most don't. You know, they just keep pushing. You know, it's very rare to find those people who just stop. So I want to be the example of people. I stopped in a way, still making money every day, with whatever I do. But I was willing sacrificing not to make a dime and do what I love, than and make money and not doing what I love. You understand?
Right. And what if you could do both?
I can do both. And I say, all right, let's figure first, what do I love? What do I want to do? First of all, I gotta do what I love. I love traveling. All right. Now, so let's travel first. Now, how can we make money while traveling? So money became the second question, not the first question. When everyone always have the first question, how do I make money? You know, and not how they do what I love. So we start traveling, and we turned and we thought a little bit before we just quit, and we thought how we doing the transition, right? I'm an entrepreneur, and then I figure, well, then I gotta invest more in real estate. I gotta stop opening retail shops that depends on me, and I gotta get more real estate. So I shifted my expenses to have more real estate. My wife works on TV for 11 years, which was good money. Of course, working on TV, right? And then we said, well, we like traveling. You know, how long am I going to work on TV? My passion is not really doing commercial that makes great money. My passion was to be an actress in Hollywood, and I haven't made it. And I don't want to blow my life. Just keep trying. So let's travel, and we'll figure something. So we figure out, let's focus more on social media and make sure you're becoming more of an influencer. And within 2 years, she jumped from 500,000 followers to 2.4 million followers on Facebook and like 110K on Instagram, because she was focusing more on social media, knowing it's gonna eventually will bring something. And we start traveling, and as we're traveling and doing more conversation like that over Zoom, we've been on few morning shows, we've been on few magazines. The followers came, and then we're working with some collaboration with different companies, with hotels and all that kind of stuff, you know. But the first question was, what do I love? You know, what do you want to do? And we figure we want to traveling. You know, so that's what we do. You know, now another thing is, traveling the world is cheaper than living in America and living in Israel, for sure, which is wild. So how we start, let's sell our house. You know, we have a 3-family house. It's COVID. It's a good time. You know, the number is up. Usually I don't sell real estate, but we were in an area that I didn't really like my renters. I had too many problems in 7 years of owning the property, and I was able to sell the property for good enough money. So I sold the property. We sold the property, and then we were thinking like, what should we do? Should we buy like a smaller house for 250, 300K, and that will be our base, and then we're just gonna travel to different places. And then we did the math, and we're like, to own a place in Jersey, between like mortgages, at least one car in the parking lot, all the bills and everything, you like at like $5,000 a month, $6,000 a month, between like a house, landscaping, heating, blah blah blah. And then we're like, damn. So if we don't have it, then we have 6 in our pocket. The same thing I had with my friend when I bought my first house, 24 years old, and he rented a house. And I was like, for $6,000, I think we can travel to any country with $6,000. And that's what we did. That was the thought. All right, then we just don't need a place. Why do we need a place? Just to have storage.
So you guys literally don't have an actual place, like a full-time place?
No, we don't. We are homeless.
Wow.
We're houseless. We're not home.
So but don't you have things? Don't you guys have actual things, like material things?
Yeah, sitting in a storage, it costs $50 a month. $20. We have 22 boxes. We have 22. That was the chicken calling me, by the way. There are plenty of chickens over there.
Yeah, I hear that. It's funny.
No, and actually 2 days ago, if you follow us on social media, we just received 2 pallets. We had 2 pallets with like 25 boxes. We actually shipped them from USA to Greece. So officially we have our stuff in Greece. In New York, it was about $200 a month for storage. We shipped everything to Greece, and in Greece, we actually don't pay any storage because the cousin has a huge factory. So we just have it for free even in Greece.
So you're literally, okay,
so no.
But does that mean you're going to spend a lot of time in Greece?
Nope, absolutely not. We're leaving on March 5th, and we're probably not going to be here again the entire 2022.
Wow, but you just have a bunch of stuff here. What if you need this? What if you need the things?
What can I possibly need that I cannot buy in Walmart or Target for $10? What can I possibly? Dude, I'm traveling with 1 sweatpants, 1 jeans, 1 dressy pants, 1 gym shorts, and 10 white V-neck. Those 10 white V-neck, they cost $5 for $25 on Amazon. So yeah. $50 t-shirts. And you need. The need is the magic word. What do you need? We don't need anything.
It's so true.
It's wild.
Honestly, bro, you're so on point, but it's like and it's funny because I have very much grown up very simple. Grew up with my grandmother. We did not have money growing up, and I'm not somebody who buys fancy Gucci, this, that. Like I'm just not, I don't care for any of that. I definitely do want to have a nice house. I would like to have a nice car. I don't. For me, it'd make me happy.
All that.
Yeah.
But
But at the same time, what you're saying is so true, though. As far as need is concerned, no, you don't need any of it. It's not a need.
Exactly.
It could be. It'll make some people happy. But as far as a need is concerned, no, we're perfectly fine living on a very basic level.
I have so many friends that are ridiculously wealthy, and it blows their mind that I just sold the restaurant that I had. I sold in the mall that I had, and all these things made money, but they needed so much of my time that I just sold them because I didn't want to give up my time so much. And they're like, when they hear that I just quit everything. I remember the conversation at the beginning. They're multimillionaires, and they're still working hard. And they tell me, so what do you guys do right now? And at that point, we actually started traveling without working. We were just traveling. We were not working. Our number was like, all right, we have $6,000 a month as we would have spent on rent. Let's see how far those can go every month. And we were spending less than $6,000 traveling. And they're like, but why are you killing the momentum? What's going to happen with your kids? I was like, what is going to happen with my kid? I'm with my kid 24/7. He's the happiest kid in the world. No, but like, don't you want to, I was like, why are you working hard? I know, I want to buy my kid a nice house. I want to this. I was like, let me ask you, me and you are really good friends right now, right? And we love each other and we pretend to be awesome people. I don't remember your dad giving you a check of $1 million when you were 18, or giving you a house when you were 18, Or I don't know, my dad didn't give me a house when I was 18 or $1 million check, and we are just fine, right? We're just fine. So guess what? I'm not planning giving my kid anything. Anything. I work for myself. When I stop working, I'm blowing the entire money on myself. Guess what? Me just continuing buying real estate because it's gonna earn me more residual income and I can travel and do more what I want. Eventually, when I die, I leave my kid with so many things that nobody left for me. So without even trying, I'm gonna leave them at a starting point that is so much better than where I am. Better, but I'm in a great. I have my mind in one place. Nobody gave me a check of $1 million, and I do what I love. So why are you working so hard? That you want to have a bigger house or a bigger pool, so the kids have a pool. Kids don't care for a pool. Just be there. Now, if you can do it all, that's awesome. If you can be there 24/7 and give them the biggest pool in the world, then that's awesome. But if you're telling me that you need more time with your kids, but you have this awesome house, 2 floors, 3,000 square foot, built with a pool, but you're telling me that you want to be home more, sell the fucking house. Sell the fucking house. Move to a smaller house. Move to a smaller house, and instead of working 6 days a week, work 3 days a week. They don't need that house. Only
it's also the
ego.
judgment. A lot of it is the keeping up with the Joneses thing. That's a very big challenge for people. It's like, as much as part of them, no, at the end of the day, it's just them versus them. But if you take, let's say, someone living in a nice area of Brooklyn, he's got a big house, everyone thinks he's successful, they respect him, they look up to him, and then he just sells this huge ass house and gets some little tiny house. There's that judgment he's worried about, especially in the Jewish community. He's like, oh, well, what are people going to think? So as much as he, in the back of his mind, he's got Almog kicking him in the ass, and he's like, fuck, I wish I could do it, but I can't handle what's going to come with it, the judgment that's going to come along.
That again come to have a strong base, a strong state of mind of, at the end of the day, in front of the mirror, that's the chicken. At the end of the day, it's just in front of the mirror, it's just you. It's just you in a mirror. The mirror is okay, that's something I just came up with. It's only so big. You can only fit so many people in the mirror. It's mostly gonna be you, your wife, and the kids, right? How many people are gonna fit in front of the mirror? Now, whoever's in front of the mirror, that's who is important, because we've all seen friends come and go. It sucks, but it's true.
Right.
90% of always come and go. They just there because it's comfortable. I don't mean they're gonna stab you in the back, but something can happen. They're gonna move away tomorrow, and you might not gonna hear from them for another year because they're busy. And that's never gonna happen between you and yourself. You wake up with yourself, you go to sleep with yourself, you take a shit with yourself, you're working with yourself. At the end of the day, it's you with yourself. So what makes you happy? Other people makes you happy? Then be with them more. People that you're now with makes you happy by the way they look at you, then you still gotta work on something here. You gotta meditate more, you gotta conversate with your loved one more, and just look at your kids smile. When people have kids, they understand that more. Some people do, and some people don't. Because sometimes when you have a kid, they understand like that level of love. That just nothing matters anymore. It sounds, but it's true in so many ways. That's the thing. People just don't have enough conversations, and I blame school on it a lot. Like people ask me, "Oh, so are you going to put your kids in school?" I'm like, probably never. Private schools or like private groups or homeschooling. I don't think schools are good anymore, or it's just like a way of keeping people in place back in the days. Now, like Israel, with all this COVID and the vaccine, people were rushing to vaccinate their kids just so they can throw them back to school. Now, why do you send them to school? Do you really send them to school to get educated at this point? Or you send them to school just to get rid of them and you can have time for yourself?
That's the second reason is probably more of a reason for most people. Yeah.
And I had this argument and my entire family upsets me. And everyone in Israel upsets me. How they all just jumped into the vaccine. Now, I'm not anti-vaccine. I'm just saying that my life is too worthy and something that is a 50-50, it's just not good enough. Even 90-10 is not good enough.
I don't care about the vaccine for myself either. So you're preaching to the choir.
Like when you tell me the odds of me dying from this vaccine is less than 1%, but then you tell me the vaccine works only 80%, then the 1% is better. It's that simple. But then if you're not vaccinated, you can't go into the restaurant. Then fuck it, I'll eat at home. They don't deserve my money. But I can't send to school. They don't send them to school. Yeah, but I won't be able to go to work. Kids don't care for your work. Just pay the fucking rent and just be with them at home. Oh, but you can't be with them because you don't have enough patience for your kids. Then there's a different problem. Don't tell me you're sending the kids. Then what is school? School is a babysitter or school is education place? The whole world is so far gone from where we tried to build it for thousands of years. Now, where are we? Are we living? Or are we just focusing on money? And like, are we really like, back in the days in the 50s, people used to go to work just to put food on the table. That's what it was. It was just to pay the bills. Back in the 50s, 99% of the people didn't want to have the biggest house on the street because they would say, I don't want to have that evil eye. I much rather live below my abilities, below my needs. And just, I don't want to, back in the days, it was like that. People were so scared of the evil eye that it was just so cute. Like until today, we still hear like people say, like older fashion people, they tell you, don't buy the craziest car so you don't have that evil eye, and like, it's kind of cute because people back in the days were just focusing on having a warm house, a warm water to take a shower, food. But people were happy, they were growing up with each other. And the one who had enough saving, they could take an extra vacation, spend extra time with people, with their loved ones. And we thousands of years, we just a body, blood, and water, whatever is in us. And we get satisfied by having a good conversation, by having a good laugh, by getting a little tipsy, if it's drinking some alcohol, all these are so accessible, and imagine you can do it every single day. We just came back from DR. We were 6 weeks in DR. My wife's family, they're all doctors in DR. They're all super educated and they're all like fairly wealthy, for Dominican Republic. None of them has a crazy house. They all have like nice houses, but not crazy, nothing like eye-catching. They get together every single day, dude. Every day? 4 days a week. 4 days a week, they throw in a karaoke party every week. 4 days a week, 5 days a week. It's the best thing I've ever seen in my life. We slept in our uncle's house. We came for 3 weeks. We extended an extra 3 weeks. It was the best 6 weeks of my life. We were doing karaoke people would get drunk every day, tons of food on the table every day, and people would just sing their heart out. And they
get drunk every day. They literally drink every day. It's amazing.
Bro, every day. Uncle Raphael is about to be 70. This son of a drink whiskey at 10 o'clock in the morning. And he's a dude, fucking wild. He go with a coffee mug, like in Dunkin' Donuts coffee mug, and inside is whiskey. And he drives with that shit. He sleeps the all day. Like I'm the person who always says like, health, like you gotta eat healthy. You got, I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke.
You don't even drink alcohol yourself?
Dude, nothing. I don't drink. I kind of never felt to it. And from young age, I started working out like really early. I started working at the age of 13. I was always into sports, and I know that alcohol is just not good for you, blah, blah. So, but at the same time, if Uncle Raphael dropped dead today at the age of 70, and I'm going to last to 90, his life might have been better. He enjoyed himself maybe more than me. I'm not saying to people go drink. Like, I don't know how to explain what I'm saying here right now.
It's a very difficult thing to talk about, Almog. It's because it's very easily argued in either direction, bro. And that's where life gets complicated. It's like, should this guy be drinking cup loads of whiskey? Should he be driving drunk? Probably not. Like, I don't know if he's making the best decisions, but he's at a point in his life where, quite frankly, he doesn't give a fuck.
He's not driving drunk, but it's so funny because they're all doctors. and they're all you drink. They're all like neurosurgeons.
They're alcoholic
and
doctors, bro.
all of them. They're all like top doctors and surgeons, and they get drunk way too often, and they probably drink way too much. And we tried to have the conversation with them, and like our cousin tell us he tells like straightforward. He say, I'm a doctor. I'm a little bit overweight, not obese. I'm just a little overweight. I probably drink too much, but I see so many people die at the age of 40, 50, and 60 that are super healthy and they just drop dead. Like, they just know right or wrong, but maybe if you just complete with your mind, and true happiness will get you the farthest. Now I'm not saying go drink too much or go do anything too much, but have a good balance. At the same time, they're all doctors. They all spend 10, 12 years of school to get to where they are. They're not like slums. They're not just sit home and drink, right? So they're all like, we have a lot of respect for them. Freaking the guy's a neurosurgeon, like I've seen him, I've been with him in the surgery room. It's freaking epic, the things he does. The point is, do what you love. People just don't do what they love, and have a fair balance. Have a fair balance. If you need to work a little bit so you can have the right house or the right vacation, that's fine. But have that balance. Don't work 90% of your time just to enjoy 10% of that awesome house. If you can do 50-50, it's much better. Drop 30% of the size of the house, but also drop 30% of the time you're working. You'll be in a good 50-50. You're probably gonna be a much happier person. You know what I'm saying? People just so off balance.
Yeah, I think it's tough. People like routine. Most people, even if they listen to you, me included, are gonna have a tough time. I mean, at the end of the day, I like the trajectory of my life. So for the most part, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. But yeah, man, I mean, what you're saying is very eye-opening. So it gives me a lot of perspective. It's good.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Do what you do.
For
Totally
sure, bro.
fine. If you do what you love, that's at the end of the day, it's just do what you love. The problem is there's so many people out there that they don't do what they love, but they're happy that they have a good house. They don't do what they love, but they're happy that they drive the right car, whatever, but they don't do what they love. If you do what you love, do it all. If you love being a realtor, you love doing a podcast, at the same time, you can manage that and being with your partner, being with your future kids, and have an awesome house and have awesome car. If you can have everything you want, you just have everything you want. Then there's that. My point is, there's no right or wrong. But don't tell me you're miserable at work and you cannot take that vacation because you're waiting for the right time. That's my point. People always waiting for the right time. Do what you love. If you do what you love, then it's freaking perfect. That's what I'm telling you. If somebody tomorrow give me a 9-to-5 job, but it's what I love to do, I'll do it. What if tomorrow my 9-to-5 job is to all of a sudden being like a mayor of my favorite city? I don't know, and I kind of love it, and I can get to travel and do all that thing. All of a sudden, I'm working actually even more than 9-to-5, but I'm probably making an awesome income. I travel, I do what I love, talking to people, and I make everybody in my family proud, and I probably get enough time to be with my family. So here we go. I'm a full-time employee, but I do what I love. And now I'm like a nomad. I don't have to work for nobody. The point is, people, do what you love. The question is, what do you love? People just don't think what they love to do.
It's also hard when they're locked in. They have family, kids. It's hard for them to just stop it. But at the end of the day, life is hard. Yeah, man. I hear you.
You know what I tell a lot of people that have a job and they don't want to quit their job or something, and they work in a corporation for like 10 years and something. Oh, I can't quit. I grew up. So I climbed the ladder so much. I tell them the same thing all the time. Dude, if you go to your boss right now and tell him, dude, I'm not quitting, or maybe you fire me or whatever. I'm taking a 2 months. I'm giving you 2 months notice from now, but in 2 months from now, I'm taking a 6 months off. I'm taking my family and I'm going to freaking Costa Rica and I want to live on the beach. I've never done it. Mid-30s. I'm doing it right now because I can. We'll talk in 6 months. If you're good at your job, they'll take you back. the hardest thing in this world is to have good employees. The hardest thing in this world is to find good people. Good people. Now, if you think that you're good and you're good at your job, they will take you back. Nobody's gonna fill up your position.
Or if
No,
they don't,
that's bullshit.
or if they don't take you back, somebody will. Somebody that definitely will. Someone else will.
But you'll get a job overnight.
Right.
You'll get a job. If you suck, then you just suck. Let me say. And I tell them that, dude, you can quit whatever you want. If you want to go like me, because people always say, oh, you live the dream. Tell them, dude, take a year. No, but I have kids in school. That's fucking 4, fucking 5. You know, like, what do they study in school? Nothing. Take them for a year vacation. You will educate them to life more than any school can. Take off for a year. Nah, but I can't quit my job. What do you worry about? Rent your house as it is on Airbnb for the next 1 year. Go live somewhere else. Go be the best decision you've ever made. Why are you afraid of? I don't know, man. You're just afraid because you can do it. Every one of us can do it. You know, every one of us can do it. You, me, anyone. So I just did it. I just left.
Yeah, it's a big challenge for a lot of people, but I hear you. It's definitely, it's motivating, bro. I don't want to say I'm going to do it because I don't like being that person. I like to say I'm going to do something and do it. But you know, regardless, bro, we're doing already an hour and almost 20 minutes. So I'm going to, have to just cut it short from here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, bro. And I would love to talk more, man. Hopefully when you come to Florida, we can have a nice long talk. You know, we could really spend a lot of time, but I just can't do it too long. It's, for my editor, but also I like to keep engagement. So until my podcast really grows, I try to keep it to a certain time. Okay. So, dude, Almog, thank you so much for coming on. You really very inspirational. Awesome conversation. Guys, make sure to, again, subscribe, like, and share. Check out the Travel is Epic Instagram page. I'm going to follow all of the, and also Almog and Evie's personal pages. I'm going to drop everything. So, brother, thanks again for coming. It was an awesome episode. I look forward to meeting in person soon.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
See you, man. Absolutely. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Peace.